Thanks for staying with us and welcome from the break. You're still watching Morning Rush, midweek edition of the show. And as we do on Wednesdays, you know, we have a conversation as always with Dr. Sharif Autry from Army Scientific Herbal and Alternative Hospital. Got this correct. And we're talking about infertility, and we're widening the scope and take it from, you know, from the men, from the women's side, so that we could, you know, see what are some of the issues when it comes to that. I know that in our Ghanaian setting, when it comes to things like this, it's very, very sensitive, and so it needs to be talked about. So Dr. Sharif is here, looking all dapper in his African print. He came in this one, I was like, oh, okay, this is dope. No, good morning.
Good morning.
This is nice.
Thanks so much.
It's simple too.
My boy YB did it for me.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Madam got it for you.
No, YB Stitches did. He's a very stubborn boy. When you give him something, he doesn't do it.
YB, ask them mention it. You know what I was going to say? YB, ask them mention it for year there. At the end of the day, I'm getting it. So
you get everyone.
So you're bringing outfits to me.
Yes. Yeah. You have to fix. Desmond as soon as possible.
You have to bring it. But okay, anyway, infertility.
Yes.
Let's start with, is it a female or a male problem?
It's something that has to do with both.
I thought it was a male problem.
No, it's both. You know, at first,
nobody wants to take the blame. Okay.
Yes, at first, you hear the blame goes to going to the woman, but right now we know that we carry the problem together, and even at a point, it looks as if men even have more of the percentage-wise in terms of the problem.
Because if the sperms are not
the
enough,
problems than the women. So we'll get into that.
Sure.
And we'll learn about that and know the solutions there, because of course, Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital has been doing a lot of wonders. At times, it beats our imagination.
Yeah.
Because some few days back, there was this lady who came. 2 weeks, she got pregnant. She's been trying for 4 years for getting married. And she came back with her sister-in-law from Nigeria that, Doctor, MEDI mekuma about me cover free Lagos and Timon. So this is some of the stories that we want to hear, because just as you mentioned, it's very, very sensitive, especially with our setting, societies. There are people who comes to your wedding and all that they are coming to do is to come to check the date and calculate it.
I know, right?
They'll be like, hey, worry. I feel it's almost a year and you won't.
But I can confirm that it's only the ladies who think about that.
No, sometimes my mother-in-law will be expecting.
I'm not going to a wedding where I'm like, guy, Charlie, if I do the bono, like.
No, there are some men who do that, because I have experience. There was this man who came to me. It was a family, relative. Actually, so who did it now? Who they calculate? Calculate. So yes, there are some men who also do that.
Yeah.
It's very, very sensitive, and fertility or infertility happens when a couple or people who have intention of conceiving or getting pregnant have tried for 12 consecutive months, which is a year, without conceiving or getting pregnant. They've done what is expected of them as couple to conceive. They are not taking any medication. They are not doing anything that will prevent them from getting pregnant. But they've tried for this period and they are not getting pregnant. Usually, there are two situations. There are primary and secondary. There are people who probably have not given birth before. They are trying and they are not getting. Yeah. That is the primary. And there's secondary. People probably they've given birth 1, 2, 3. They want to add up.
Yeah.
And still, it's not coming. Now, when there's fertility issue or when there's infertility problem, there are a lot of situations or things that could contribute to some of these things. We'll start with the women. There are issues like menstrual, problems. A lot of women are having issues with their menstrual cycle, like occasional amenorrhea. You see some women not having their menses as they are supposed to, within the year, they probably will have their menses for just 3 times. Ideally, every woman should have the menses every year. And the mechanism behind menstruation is, the uterus prepares itself every month for pregnancy, every month. So if you don't conceive, if you don't get pregnant, that preparation, that's a preparation that happens within the uterus that is shed off as your menses. So if you are not menstruating every month, it means that your uterus itself is not prepared for pregnancy.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because it is that preparation that is being shed off as menses. So if you are there and you're having occasional amenorrhea, it means that there's a problem.
Okay.
The uterus is not ready for pregnancy. There are situations where you see people having myomas, that is fibroids, growing in the uterus. Some people will be like, "Yes, me was fibroid, so as a result, I can't get pregnant." You understand? These things can happen in women, which can contribute to infertility. Okay. There are issues within the tubes. It will be like this tubal blockage. They said my tubes are blocked. So if you're a woman and you're having tubal blockages, it could affect your fertility level. There are situations that can happen within the ovaries. Ovarian cyst, polycystic ovarian syndrome, when there's fluid accumulation within the ovaries, which affects the way you ovulate. Mind you, for a woman to be able to conceive, the woman should be able to provide a viable egg every month, or should be able to ovulate a viable egg every month. So if you're having issues like ovarian cyst, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which affects your ovulation, it is very, very difficult for you to get pregnant. You understand? And then also there are situations where women are exposed to some infections which are left untreated. Different forms, chlamydia, gonorrhea, candidiasis, all these sort of infections left untreated for a very long time, which ascends up, either to the cervix, which could cause a lot of cervical problems, which could lead to infertility problem in women, which could move up into the tubes and even the ovaries. So infections can go a long way to affect our fertility. You see issues like endometriosis, which causes scarring tissues within the endometrial lining. So you see some women, they can get pregnant, but no matter how the situation is, they will miss the pregnancy.
Okay, a miscarriage.
Yes, so recurrent miscarriages. Okay. You understand? And it could be as a result of endometriosis, the scarring tissues within the endometrial lining. Now, apart from these things that happen in women, which could cause, infertility in women, there are situations in men as well. Mostly, it all boils down to their semen. When I talk about semen, what that means is sperms. That's literally that's what we know. Now, for a man to be able to impregnate a woman, per every ejaculate, what I mean by per every ejaculate is when you have a sexual encounter with a woman and you come. You understand? You are supposed to produce at least 20 to 100 million sperm cells.
20 to 100, okay.
Yes. Yes. Hey. So if you are producing less than these sperm cells per every ejaculate, it means that you are having what we call low sperm count. So your count is not sufficient enough to impregnate a woman. And just as we are saying that some people are having low sperm count because it's less than the 2 million sperm count, some people are not even having it at all. Yes, there are some men. And men have this perception that, if they are sexually okay, they're sexually active, their sexual drive is fine, and they are able to have, long sexual intercourse, it means that they don't have fertility problem.
Issues, yeah.
So they should take note. There's difference between you having, a fertility problem or having low sperm count or azoospermia or all these things, and you lasting long in bed. So a lot of times when the women are complaining, they'll be like, why are you saying I have? There's a difference in that you can last long in bed, but if your sperm count is low or if you are not having it at all, it could cause some of these things. And there are situations where they can produce the 20 million sperm count, but their morphology, they have what we call morphological defects. You know, sperm cells are like tadpoles, very big head and some tail, which propels them to move. Because when you introduce them into the woman, they would have to move swim up, you know, to the tubes, the fallopian tubes where fertilization actually takes place.
Okay, yeah.
So if the morphology is not good, they are not having heads that will give them directions, if they are not having tails that will propel them to move, or if they are not very strong, because they need to be very strong, because these 20 million, mind you, it is only one that has a tendency of fertilizing the woman's egg, or even at times 2 or 3. That's when you are giving birth to twins, triplets, and all those things. But it is only one, so you need to struggle, you need to move faster. So their motility is also very, very important. And there are a lot of men who have these issues. And you know, one thing is, you know, if a man is having any of these problems, unless you check them, they come to the hospital, you do what we call semen analysis to find out. It is not something visible on them for you to know that, oh, this is the problem. Desmond is having low sperm count. You can't see it in their face. So a lot of times you see men, you know, excluding themselves when it comes to, you know, fertility issues.
Yeah. Look, I want us to go back to the women. You gave the female and the male causes.
Yes.
For the female, earlier on you stated that for someone who has never conceived before, also might face that problem. Someone who might have conceived 3 times might also face that. The causes you gave, it sounds like it could go for someone who has never conceived before, because you haven't gone through the process. But for someone who has conceived, like, let's say, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 3 times, how would you have an issue like that?
Yes, so so it happens. So, for example, you're having, for example, a fibroid. It grows over time.
Yeah.
So probably the time that you were giving birth, it was that small.
Okay.
And at a point, that's grown to be bigger, and it's occupying the endometrial space, which is preventing pregnancy to come. So it can happen. And then along the line, there was some problem which is causing the tubes to block as you go along.
Okay.
It could also predispose you in getting some of these things. There are some hormones in women, you know, even stress, you know, marital issues, you are stressed out. Work stress and all those things.
All of that.
Because I think that actually distorts your menstruation.
Yes.
Even though you might have it.
And even some lifestyle, you know, things that we do, smoking, drinking, alcohol, and all those things. Yeah. Being obese and all those things, it could go a long way to even affect your hormones, which will go a long way to cause infertility.
Okay, so this one you heard that it's a very, like we've mentioned, very, very important.
Sensitive issue.
And sensitive issue to touch on. And so, as the doctor said, people come into the facility and get the
solution to their problems.
Problems. And so, as you heard, the men, it is not on our foreheads. You need to go for semen analysis and all of those things to see that there's a problem. So do call the numbers on your screen for more help. But of course, you can walk into any of the branches across the country. They're everywhere.
Yes, everywhere in the country. We are in Boga, we are in Wa, we are in Tamale, in Kumasi, Takrady, Hohohoi, Koko, and in Accra here, Dome and Lashibi Klagon. You call the numbers on the screen, and if you're having fertility issue, if you're having fertility issue, my brother, my sister, you just have to come. You just have to come. You don't have any excuse. You just have to come to Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, and we'll sort out the issue for you.
Come and let's sort out the issue. Thank you very much, Doc, for coming. We're going to take a break, but before that, I just go on Twitter and I saw Gabon trending, and I just we had this update that there's a coup in Gabon.
Hey.
Yes, and then a group of senior Gabonese military officers appeared on television earlier this morning to announce the suspension of elections and the closing of borders shortly after the Election Commission said President Ali Bongo had won a 3rd term. And according to media reports, the officers said they were annulling the results of Saturday's election, which the opposition had denounced as fraudulent. So, a coup in Gabon. I'm sure during the day, a lot of updates will be coming and we'll be sharing with that with you, of course, on this channel. And very, very interesting.